Greetings to all the math students out there from Mrs. Marcellus, and I'm thrilled to have my good buddy Einswine with me here today. Today we'll learn to find the mean. Today's learning objective is, students will find the mean of a data set by calculating the sum of the data and dividing that sum by the number of pieces of data. Today's vocabulary word is mean. The mean is the sum of the data in a data set divided by the number of pieces of data. It's also often called the average. We find the mean by adding all the data values in the set and then dividing it by the number of data values that are in that set. Are you ready to try some examples, Einswine? Okay, then let's go to our first one. The table shows Hugo's test scores for the first 7 chapters. Find the mean test score. In order to find the mean, we will have to add all of Hugo's test scores together and then divide that number by 7. If you are using a calculator, it's really important to either use the parentheses or do this in 2 steps. If you do this without using parentheses and your calculator follows order of operations, the first thing that is going to happen is 93 will be divided by 7, then the rest of the test scores will be added to that amount. Once we add all the scores, we have a total of 630. Then we will divide this by 7, and when we do so, we find that the mean test score is 90%. Then you want to do just a quick mental check to make sure that this makes sense. The mean is one measure of the middle of the data. It's the average. Therefore, there should be some values that are lower than 90% and higher than 90%. Your mean should fall somewhere in the middle. If it doesn't, that's a big clue that something has gone awry. The dot plot shows the number of flowers in several different bouquets for Mother's Day. Find the mean number of flowers in the bouquets. When you read a dot plot, each dot represents a data value. There are 6 different bouquets included in this dot plot. There are 2 bouquets that each contain 12 flowers, 1 bouquet that includes 14 flowers, 2 that include 15, and 1 that includes 16. In order to find the mean, we will have to add these values together, and then we will divide by 6 since there's a total of 6 bouquets. Once we add the values together, we will have a total of 84 divided by 6. When we divide 84 by 6, we find that the mean number of flowers in the bouquets is 14. In this problem, we are asked to find the missing value. The chart shows the high temperature data for Monday through Friday. If the average temperature over the 5 days was 78.6 degrees, what was the high temperature on Wednesday? When we find the missing value, we can think of doing the mean in reverse. We know that the sum of the temperatures in the table divided by 5 equals 78.6. This would be 80 plus 81 plus whatever Wednesday's temperature is, plus 77 plus 82, divided by 5. In order to cancel out dividing by 5 on the left-hand side, we can multiply both sides of our equation times 5. When we multiply by 5, it's like we are undoing that final step of finding the mean where we divide by the number of data values. After we multiply by 5, we find that the temperatures equal 393. Next, we can consolidate all the temperatures we know. This leaves us with 320 plus x on the left-hand side, and that is equal to 393. In order to solve for x, we can subtract 320 from both sides of our equation. When we do this, we are left with the missing value, and we learn that Wednesday's temperature was 73 degrees. You can always test this to make sure it is correct by plugging it into the table and finding the mean. If we add up the 5 values, including the 73, and divide by 5, we will in fact get our mean temperature of 78.6 degrees. Well, Einswine, that lesson was short and sweet, wasn't it? Did you remember to order some flowers for your mom for Mother's Day? What's that? Oh, you got her some fancy truffles too. She'll like those. Well, math students, that concludes our lesson on finding mean, so we're going to wave bye for now.